This is very old wine.
Hollywood has always been a place of glitz, glamour, and larger-than-life personalities. But behind the bright lights, many stars have faced personal struggles, including battles with alcohol.
There is some love. Human love.
Some of these stories are heartbreaking, while others are tales of resilience and redemption. In this video, we're diving into the lives of 20 Hollywood icons who became known for their struggles with alcohol.
Much too much.
Yeah, well, I'll start in on the kid if I want.
Number 20. Richard Burton. Richard Burton is often remembered for his passionate and turbulent love affair with Elizabeth Taylor, but he was equally renowned for his magnetic presence on stage and screen. The legend was born Richard Walter Jenkins in 1925 in the small Welsh village of Pontrhydyfen. Burton grew up in a Welsh-speaking coal mining family. His childhood was marked by tragedy when his mother passed away while he was still a toddler. After his father abandoned the family, Burton was raised by his older sister Cecilia. Burton discovered an early love for literature and Shakespeare. This passion earned him a scholarship to Oxford University, where he studied acting before making his stage debut in 1944. Despite his immense talent, Burton's life was overshadowed by his struggle with alcoholism. Starting at a young age, he developed an alcohol dependence that grew as his fame skyrocketed. By the height of his career, Burton reportedly drank 2 to 3 bottles of vodka daily. He often joked about his habits, once telling a director that not drinking meant limiting himself to 1 bottle a day. Even while battling his demons, Burton delivered unforgettable performances in films like Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf and Cleopatra. However, his health suffered greatly due to his excessive drinking, contributing to cirrhosis and kidney disease. Burton passed away in 1984 at just 58, leaving behind a legacy of both extraordinary talent and a cautionary tale about the dangers of addiction. Number 19. Judy Garland. Judy Garland, beloved by generations for her role as Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, lived a life filled with dazzling highs and heartbreaking lows. Judy was born Frances Ethel Gumm in 1922. She grew up in a musical family that performed in vaudeville shows. Her natural talent was evident early on, and by the age of 13, she signed with MGM, launching a career that would make her a Hollywood legend. However, fame came at a steep cost. Garland's father passed away suddenly in 1935. This deeply affected her and strained her already difficult relationship with her mother. Pushed relentlessly by the studio system, Garland faced immense pressure to maintain a perfect image. MGM executives controlled every aspect of her life. They enforced strict diets and introduced her to pills at just 10 years old to keep her energized and thin. Her struggles with addiction grew as she juggled an intense work schedule and personal insecurities. By her late teens, Garland had developed a dependence on prescription drugs. This soon extended to alcohol as she tried to cope with the mounting pressures of fame. Despite her battles, she delivered unforgettable performances in classics like Meet Me in St. Louis and A Star is Born. Garland's personal life was marked by instability. She had multiple marriages and consistent struggles with substance abuse. In 1969, at just 47, she was found dead by her 5th husband, Mickey Deans, from an overdose of barbiturates. Her tragic end serves as a stark reminder of the toll fame can take on even the brightest stars. Number 18. Oliver Reed. Oliver Reed captivated audiences in films like Oliver and the Three Musketeers, but he was also notorious for his off-screen antics. During the late 1960s and early 1970s, Reed was one of Britain's biggest box office draws, but while his talent earned him acclaim, his wild lifestyle made him infamous. Reed himself admitted he did not live in the world of sobriety. He was known for his legendary drinking feats. He once reportedly drank 126 pints of beer in 24 hours and still managed to perform a handstand at a bar. His escapades often became chaotic. This included things like pretending to play rugby with a baby during a christening, or exposing his tattooed private part, which he humorously called his mighty mallet. Reed's stunts didn't stop there. He famously climbed a chimney naked, urinated on an Australian flag, and even passed out on an airport baggage conveyor belt. Despite, or perhaps because of, these antics, his larger-than-life persona became the stuff of legend. His final act of excess occurred in Malta during the filming of Gladiator. Reed spent a night at a bar. There he allegedly downed 3 bottles of rum, 8 bottles of German beer, and several doubles of whiskey and cognac. After reportedly besting 5 younger Royal Navy sailors in arm wrestling, he suffered a fatal heart attack. Number 17. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's life has been a roller coaster of fame, struggles, and redemption. Born into a family of actors, she was exposed to Hollywood's glitz and glamour at an early age. By the time she was just 9 years old, she was attending high-profile parties with her mother, a lifestyle that led her to try alcohol. This early exposure quickly spiraled into addiction, and by 11, Drew was battling a growing dependence on alcohol. Her struggles with substance misuse didn't stop there. By 14, she was in rehab for cocaine addiction, a shocking reality for someone so young. Drew has since spoken openly about her fight with addiction, describing alcohol as a constant enemy. "The drinking thing for me was a constant," she once shared. "You keep thinking you will master this thing, and it's getting the better of you." Despite the odds, Drew has worked hard to turn her life around. In 2018, she told CBS This Morning, "I'm in a lifestyle that I know is really working. There's so much peace finally being had where there were demons." After years of battling addiction, she found solace in sobriety. In 2019, Drew celebrated a major milestone, achieving sobriety after attending a treatment center in Utah. Now an actress, producer, and beloved talk show host. Number 16. Peter O'Toole. Peter O'Toole was a charismatic actor whose piercing blue eyes and incredible performances drew audiences in. O'Toole earned 8 Academy Award nominations, cementing his place in cinema history. However, his personal life painted a far different picture. It was marked by his notorious relationship with alcohol. From the beginning of his career, O'Toole embraced drinking with a zest that often spilled into his work. During the filming of Lawrence of Arabia, he and co-star Omar Sharif reportedly overcame their fear of camels by staying drunk during a camel raid scene. His wild Beirut drinking sprees during the production became legendary. By the time he filmed Beckett in 1964, he was allegedly intoxicated throughout the shoot. O'Toole's antics weren't limited to movie sets. In one infamous incident, he took a date to see a play in Soho, only to realize mid-performance that he was the star. He fondly recalled staggering into a Paris pub for a beer, only to wake up in Corsica. His oblivion even extended to world events. He humorously admitted he discovered President Kennedy's assassination 22 years after the fact. Health concerns eventually forced O'Toole to give up drinking, but years of excessive alcohol and chain smoking had already taken their toll. His once dashing looks faded with time, and in 2013, the legendary actor passed away in a London hospital. Number 15. John Belushi. John Belushi brought unforgettable characters to life on Saturday Night Live, SNL, and starred in hit films like Animal House and The Blues Brothers. Born on January 24, 1949, in Chicago to Albanian-American parents, Belushi started his comedy career with the West Compass Trio, which led him to the Second City Comedy Club. There, he met longtime collaborator Dan Aykroyd. Together, they became a dynamic duo on SNL, creating iconic sketches and launching the Blues Brothers as both a musical act and a beloved film. However, Belushi's meteoric rise was accompanied by personal struggles. Known for his high-energy performances, he also lived a fast-paced lifestyle marked by heavy substance use. On March 5, 1982, at just 33 years old, Belushi was found dead in his bungalow at the Chateau Marmont in Hollywood. A coroner's report confirmed he died from acute cocaine and heroin intoxication. His physical condition at the time was dire. There were signs of long-term substance abuse, including needle marks, an enlarged heart, and other health issues. The night before his death, Belushi was reportedly drinking heavily at a private bar above the Roxy nightclub. Kathy Smith, who admitted to administering the fatal drug mixture, was later convicted and served 15 months in prison. Despite his untimely death, Belushi's influence endures. His star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, awarded posthumously in 2004, is a testament to his lasting legacy in comedy, film, and music. Number 14, Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was more than just a beautiful face on the silver screen. She was a Hollywood legend with a rebellious spirit that made her unforgettable. Born on December 24, 1922 in North Carolina, Gardner rose to fame in the 1940s. She became one of the most iconic stars of the 1950s and 1960s. Known for her stunning beauty and magnetic presence, she starred in classics like The Killers, Mogambo, and The Night of the Iguana. Gardner lived life unapologetically. She embraced hard partying, foul-mouthed humor, and a no-holds-barred approach to relationships and work. Alcohol often fueled her antics, breaking down inhibitions and amplifying her larger-than-life personality. During the filming of The Night of the Iguana, Gardner famously refused to shoot a night scene, declaring, "I feel like drinking instead." Director John Huston joined her, drinking tequila shots until they were both too drunk to continue. Her escapades extended beyond the set. From wild parties with Frank Sinatra and Salvador Dali to publicly peeing in the lobby of Madrid's Ritz Hotel, Gardner's antics became the stuff of legend. She even got banned from the Ritz in New York's St. Regis Hotel for her wild behavior. While alcohol fueled her wild streak, it was cigarettes that ultimately claimed her life. Gardner died of pneumonia in 1990 at the age of 67, her health weakened by years of heavy smoking. Number 13. Bela Lugosi. Bela Lugosi, best known for his chilling portrayal of Dracula, was a legendary figure in horror cinema. However, his later years were marked by deep personal struggles with addiction and alcoholism. A captivating performer on screen, Lugosi's life off-screen was far more tumultuous and tragic. By the 1940s, Lugosi had become dependent on morphine, initially prescribed for chronic pain. This addiction, coupled with a growing reliance on alcohol, affected his career and personal relationships. His mental health deteriorated, leading to increasingly erratic behavior. One particularly haunting incident revealed the depth of Lugosi's despair. While working with director Ed Wood, Lugosi reportedly hid behind a curtain on set, visibly distraught. When he finally emerged, tears streamed down his face, and he pointed a gun at Wood. "Eddie, I'm going to die tonight," Lugosi said, his voice trembling. "I want to take you with me." Wood, who battled his own demons with alcohol, empathized with Lugosi's pain. In a moment of quick thinking, Wood offered Lugosi his favorite drink, a Boilermaker. The gesture worked. Lugosi lowered the gun and drank himself to sleep, finding temporary solace in the alcohol. Despite these struggles, Lugosi's legacy as a horror icon remains intact. His performance in Dracula set the standard for vampire portrayals. It cemented his place in cinematic history. Lugosi passed away in 1956, leaving behind a complicated story of triumph, addiction, and enduring fame. Number 12. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford, born Lucille Fay LeSueur, was one of Hollywood's brightest stars and a master of reinvention. Her rise began as a dancer in theatrical troupes before landing a contract with MGM in 1925. By the late 1920s, she had built an image as a glamorous flapper. This had won over audiences with her portrayals of hardworking young women in rags-to-riches tales. Despite early success, her career faced setbacks in the late 1930s when she was labeled box office poison. Crawford's determination brought her roaring back with Mildred Pierce, 1945, earning her an Academy Award for Best Actress. In 1955, she added a unique chapter to her story by marrying Alfred Steele, the CEO of Pepsi-Cola. As Pepsi's unofficial ambassador, Crawford traveled the globe promoting the brand, and of course she often arrived with a dramatic flair. Alongside her Pepsi enthusiasm, she reportedly brought an impressive wish list of alcohol on her trips. This list included vodka, bourbon, gin, scotch, champagne, and naturally, a case of Pepsi. After Steele's passing in 1959, Crawford stepped into the corporate world. She joined Pepsi's board of directors, where she remained until 1973. She continued acting into the 1960s before retiring after her final film, Trog, 1970. Crawford's personal life was as dramatic as her career. Married 4 times and the adoptive mother of 5 children, she had a fraught relationship with 2 of them. Joan Crawford passed away on May 10, 1977, leaving behind a complex legacy as a trailblazing actress and an unforgettable Hollywood icon. Number 11. Humphrey Bogart. Humphrey Bogart became famous for his iconic roles in movies like Casablanca. His strong performances made him a Hollywood legend, but off-screen he was known for his notorious drinking habits. Bogart's love for alcohol often affected his personal life and his work. One famous story comes from the filming of The African Queen. While the rest of the crew drank water, Bogart and director John Huston drank whiskey. The rest of the crew got sick from the contaminated water, but not them. This story became part of his larger-than-life persona. Bogart's drinking also made him a very different person late at night. A friend once said, "Bogart's a hell of a nice guy until around 11:30 p.m. After that, he thinks he's Bogart." When drunk, he could get angry, stubborn, or even abusive. His drinking affected his work, and there were times he showed up to the set drunk or hungover. He even wore pajamas and rode a bicycle around the studio on occasion. His love for alcohol and smoking caused health problems, and in 1956 he was diagnosed with cancer. Despite his illness, he was still seen with a glass of sherry in his hand. Sadly, Bogart passed away in 1957. Number 10. Rita Hayworth. In the late 1970s, the world learned that Hollywood legend Rita Hayworth was facing a tough battle with alcoholism. The once glamorous star, known for her roles in films like Gilda, was now struggling with her personal demons. Reports revealed that she had been hospitalized at Hoag Hospital in Newport Beach. The actress was unable to consent to treatment due to her condition. It was a difficult time for the actress, who was living alone and dealing with her alcoholism. During this period, Hayworth had an unexpected encounter with a fan and artist from Newport Beach. The man, who recognized the pain she was going through, reached out and offered to help. He invited her to stay with him for a short visit, hoping that a change of environment might give her some respite. However, when he left the house for a short time, he returned to find Hayworth barricaded inside in a state of distress. Concerned for her safety, he immediately took action, finding her hiding in a closet. He made sure that Hayworth received the professional help she needed by arranging for her to go back to Hoag Hospital. Sadly, this was the last time he would see the iconic actress. Number 9. Elvis Presley. Elvis Presley remains one of the most iconic figures in music history, particularly for his role in the 50s and 60s rock and roll movement. However, his untimely death at the age of 42 continues to stir debate. While many believe he died from a heart attack, others think his ongoing battle with drug abuse played a major part. By 1973, Elvis's health was in serious decline. He had struggled with addiction, and 2 separate overdoses that year led to hospitalizations. Despite his health issues, he continued to tour, performing 168 concerts in 1973 alone. However, his condition worsened, and by September 1974, fans and fellow musicians noticed troubling signs. Elvis could barely perform without struggling to hold himself up or remember lyrics. It was clear that his health had taken a severe hit. In 1976, as his drug use intensified, Elvis's relationship with his managers and the people around him grew strained. His bodyguards were fired, possibly due to their concerns about his drug dependency. RCA, his record label, began to worry about his declining interest in recording music, as he made no official studio recordings in 1974. Despite his worsening condition, Elvis continued performing until his last concert in June 1977. On August 16, 1977, just before a scheduled tour, Elvis was found unresponsive in his Graceland mansion and was declared dead at 3:30 in the afternoon. While his official cause of death was cardiac arrest, drugs, including prescription medication, are believed to have played a significant role. His passing shocked fans around the world, and his legacy lives on as a symbol of rock and roll. Number 8. Gail Russell. Gail Russell was a beautiful and talented actress whose life took a tragic turn due to struggles with alcohol. Born in 1924, she was a shy and introverted young girl who preferred staying in her room rather than socializing. However, when a Paramount executive noticed her striking looks, her mother encouraged her to try out for a screen test. Despite having no formal acting training, Russell was signed by Paramount Pictures in 1949, launching her movie career. Russell quickly became known for her beauty, landing roles in films like The Uninvited, 1944, and Our Hearts Were Young and Gay, 1944. However, her shyness and lack of confidence made it difficult for her to adjust to the pressures of Hollywood life. By 1952, her career began to stall, and her personal life became more complicated. During this time, her marriage to actor Guy Madison ended in divorce in 1954, and her struggles with alcoholism worsened. She was arrested several times for drunk driving, and in 1955, she entered a sanitarium in Seattle for treatment. After her recovery, she made a brief return to acting. She appeared in films like 7 Men from Now, 1956, which was produced by John Wayne, her rumored love interest. Despite this comeback, her battle with alcohol continued, and her career never fully recovered. Sadly, Gail Russell passed away in 1961 at the age of 36. The official cause of death was acute and chronic alcoholism. Throughout her life, she often expressed how the pressures of Hollywood left her feeling overwhelmed and isolated, leaving her longing for peace. Number 7. Errol Flynn. Errol Flynn, born in 1909, was the son of adventurer Morell Young and biologist Theodore Flynn. As a child, he was full of energy and mischief, always getting into trouble. In fact, he was expelled from every school he attended. In his late teens, Flynn set off to find gold. But instead, he ended up taking odd jobs. These odd jobs included a police constable, a sanitation worker, a treasure hunter, a sheep castrator, a fisherman, and even a soldier. His life was full of strange adventures as he tried to stay ahead of the law and jealous husbands. Eventually, Flynn fled to England, where he stumbled into acting. His first big break came when he played Fletcher Christian in the 1933 film In the Wake of the Bounty. His good looks and athletic abilities caught the attention of Warner Brothers, and soon he was off to Hollywood. In 1935, Flynn replaced Robert Donat in Captain Blood, and overnight he became the king of adventure films. Known for his roles as dashing heroes like Robin Hood and Captain Blood, Flynn's on-screen persona was that of a freedom-loving rebel. However, off-screen, Flynn led a wild and reckless life filled with alcohol, partying, and womanizing. His notorious behavior, which included drinking on set and hosting wild parties on his private boat, made headlines. Flynn's excessive lifestyle caught up with him, and by the time he was 50, his body was riddled with cirrhosis and other health problems. He passed away from a heart attack in 1959, leaving behind a legacy of swashbuckling roles and scandalous adventures. Number 6. Barbara Payton. Barbara Payton, once a shining starlet in Hollywood, had a tragic downfall that was tied to her battle with alcoholism. Born in Minnesota, Payton moved to Hollywood with big dreams. She quickly became a popular actress in the 1940s and 1950s. She appeared in films alongside legendary actors like James Cagney, Gary Cooper, and Gregory Peck. With her stunning beauty and acting talent, it seemed like she had a promising career ahead of her. However, Payton's personal life was filled with chaos. She had a string of affairs, some violent relationships, and often found herself in trouble with the law. She faced arrests for shoplifting, prostitution, and even public drunkenness. By the 1960s, Payton's struggles with alcohol became even worse. Her life spiraled downward, and she lost custody of her young son, which only deepened her troubles. In 1962, she was arrested for being drunk and disorderly after a wild party. She was also found sleeping at a Sunset Boulevard bus stop, wearing only a coat and a bathing suit. As the years went on, Payton's health rapidly declined. Her body, ravaged by years of drinking, couldn't hold up. At just 39 years old, she passed away from heart and liver failure, her appearance so changed that she was barely recognizable. Despite her early fame, Barbara Payton's life became a sad reminder of how addiction can destroy even the brightest stars. Number 5. Dean Martin. Dean Martin, also known as the King of Cool, was famous for his smooth voice, good looks, and his lovable persona as a charming drunk. He often joked about feeling sorry for people who didn't drink, saying that the morning was the best they'd feel all day. His stage image of always having a drink in hand, usually accompanied by a funny one-liner, made him a symbol of carefree fun. But those who were close to him, including his daughter, revealed that his drinking on stage was mostly an act. He often sipped apple juice from his glass instead of alcohol. Born Dino Crocetti in 1917, Dean started his career in the 1940s as the straight man in a comedy duo with Jerry Lewis. After they split in 1956, Dean Martin became one of America's most beloved entertainers. His charming, laid-back style made him a star in Las Vegas, the movies, and on TV. He starred in hit films, hosted his own variety show, and became famous for his relaxed performances, often cracking jokes about drinking and life in general. Dean's love for the good life was legendary. He once joked, "I don't drink anymore. I freeze it now and eat it like a popsicle," showing his humorous take on drinking. Despite his fun-loving image, Dean was a devoted family man who balanced his career with his personal life. He passed away in 1995 at the age of 78, leaving behind a legacy as one of the coolest entertainers to ever grace the stage. Number 4. Carrie Fisher. Carrie Fisher, best known for her role as Princess Leia in Star Wars, was much more than an iconic movie character. Beyond her famous buns and blasters, she was a brave woman who openly shared her struggles with addiction and mental health. In her candid memoir, Wishful Drinking, Fisher wrote about her battle with substance abuse. She described how happiness was something she often struggled to find. She acknowledged that if people expect to be happy all the time, they might be setting themselves up for trouble, often leading to addiction. Fisher's honesty about her life with addiction made a powerful impact. She was open about how she used alcohol as a way to cope with personal struggles, which only worsened her problems. She also shared her 45-year fight with bipolar disorder and how she turned to opioids to self-medicate during manic episodes. In Wishful Drinking, she went into detail about these battles, showing how she fought back and began her journey to recovery. Though Carrie Fisher passed away in 2016, her courage in talking about her struggles has inspired many people. By sharing her story, she helped remove the stigma around addiction and mental health, offering hope to others facing similar challenges. Number 3. John Wayne. John Wayne had a side to him that not many people knew about. While he was known as a professional on set, there were a few quirky habits that came with his star status. Like many movie stars of his era, Wayne was treated like royalty, and his special requests were often met without question. One of the most unusual aspects of Wayne's routine was his insistence on filming scenes before noon. Why? Well, as the day went on, he would often become irritable after having a few drinks, earning a reputation as a mean drunk. His colleagues who worked closely with him knew this all too well. To avoid these afternoon mood swings, Wayne made sure to complete all his scenes in the morning. Another oddity was his strict requirement to wait until he had his morning bowel movement before filming could start. This delay confused the set. Directors and producers would wonder why the shooting wasn't starting, only to find out that Wayne hadn't yet taken care of his business. Wayne's love for alcohol often interfered with his daily routine. At the time, many people drank without considering the importance of hydration, and this could affect his digestion. This made mornings particularly tough for him, as he struggled with digestion issues that made getting off to a good start more difficult. All of these habits added a bit of unpredictability to the set, but his talent and star power always kept him at the top. Number 2. Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was known for his towering presence and incredible strength. Standing at a remarkable 7.5 feet tall and weighing about 500 pounds, Andre was often called the eighth wonder of the world. However, what really set him apart from other wrestlers wasn't just his size. It was his legendary love for alcohol. Despite his massive frame, Andre's love for booze was even bigger. He consumed around 7,000 calories of alcohol daily. One wild story goes that he drank 119 bottles of beer in just 6 hours before collapsing under a tarpaulin. Another time, after filming The Princess Bride, he spent the entire night at a bar. There, he drank 40 vodka tonics, which led to a jaw-dropping $40,000 bar bill. Andre was not just a famous wrestler, but also a beloved actor, most notably playing the role of Fezzik in The Princess Bride. He also appeared in movies like Conan the Destroyer and Trading Mom. But his reputation for drinking became as legendary as his wrestling career. Although he was generally a gentle giant, Andre's drinking often led to trouble. One night, after a group of men picked on him at a bar, he flipped their car over with them inside. Sadly, His excessive drinking, combined with a condition called acromegaly, which caused his enormous size, contributed to health issues like diabetes and heart failure. He passed away at just 46, much earlier than most people expected. Number 1. Marie Prevost. Who was Marie Prevost? Marie Prevost was a talented actress from the early days of Hollywood. She became well known for her roles in silent films and early talkies, but her life ended in tragedy. At just 40 years old, Marie succumbed to acute alcoholism. Her untimely death went unnoticed for 2 days until her dog's nonstop barking caught the attention of concerned neighbors. When they investigated, a houseboy found her lifeless body inside her room. When the police arrived, they found several empty liquor bottles and a promissory note addressed to actress Joan Crawford, totaling $110. Marie's death deeply saddened the Hollywood community. Her funeral was attended by many of Hollywood's biggest stars. Her contributions to the film industry were honored posthumously when she was awarded a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Marie Prevost's tragic fate, along with the struggles of other stars, led to the creation of the motion picture and television country house and hospital. This facility provided much-needed medical care for those working in the entertainment industry. And that's a wrap on today's episode of 20 Most Notorious Alcoholics in Hollywood History. We've seen how addiction affected some of Tinseltown's brightest stars. Remember, these stories remind us of the importance of support and care. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for more fascinating Hollywood history.